Hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to a new edition of the EKN Debrief, episode number 171, Tuesday, August the 11th, 2026. My name is Rob Howden. We'll be joined by David Cole, who was trackside at the USPKS United States Pro Kart Series Ohio Grand Prix down at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati this past weekend in Batavia, Ohio. We'll provide this to cap off our coverage, EKN trackside coverage from this past weekend. Let's go into today's show, presented by Rawlson Performance Group. At the Rawlson Performance Group, we strive for ultimate success. We're more than just an arrive and drive race team with countless wins on the national and regional level. Our focus is on complete driver development, and that's where the success is fueled. We combined one-on-one coaching, on-track instruction, and intensive data debriefing with unparalleled kart and engine prep. Our program will help you raise your game. We'll take you to the next level. If that's your goal, RPG needs to be your next move. Experience the Rawlson difference. All right, David Cole, you were trackside down at the USPKS Ohio Grand Prix. Again, back to the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati for your second trip of the year down in Batavia, Ohio, the Bailiff family shop. August 7th, 8th, 9th, the weekend. Let's dive into it. Let's have the overview of this past weekend's race.
Well, where do we begin? I guess we could start with the weather. You know, weather was that was an issue going in. Always seems to be an issue at MCC. It wasn't for the weekend you were there, so maybe you might be the deciding factor in good weather at MCC.
Good to know. Good to know. Hey, listen, I did see all your updates. There was more than one minute flat. Let's put it that way, because you were providing everybody with updates with the weather that was going on.
Yeah, Friday we had the issues. It was rain early and dried out. And then just as we were getting into happy hour, that's when the rains returned. And it was storms. It was thunder and lightning. Like everybody was turning on the lightning app. And, there were lightning strikes right in the camping area, lightning strikes outside turn 2.
What?
All over the area. Yeah. So it was pretty wild and crazy. So that essentially canceled everything the rest of the day. So they had to shift the schedule, moving the rest of happy hour into warm up on Saturday and qualifying into Saturday, as well as we typically end with qualifying at the end of Friday. So a bit chaotic. It was almost like the year we had the hurricane come through Indiana, and they actually shut down practice on Friday about halfway through, and we all went bowling that day. This time though, it's quite weird, Rob. I was still there. They waited till about 4:00 before they called everything, and I was still there at 5:00. And by 5:00, the sun had started coming back out, then more rain came right behind it. Good. So it was a good call, because there was no way that anything was going to get completed the rest of the day. And as you saw from some of the photos and videos, the track was flooded in certain parts. So that was a concerning issue. And I'm sure kids have some staph infections from running around in the puddles there. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun for the parents.
Off to the walking clinic on Monday morning.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was it for rain. Saturday and Sunday stayed dry, so that was a positive. But both days were super humid. So much moisture in the ground and sitting on top of the ground, made for going out on the racetrack horrible. Paddock not so bad, but certainly out on the racetrack there not fun. So quite an interesting weekend weather-wise.
So the Ohio Grand Prix, the third round of the 4 rounds of the United States Pro Kart Series, 14th season of the championship. Dave, we did it in the Outlet Preview podcast. We'll do the same thing here in the debrief. Let's have a look at by the numbers. Indeed, 180 total entries at the end of the weekend.
That's what I have. Yeah, that's what I recorded. Go. So that's the total number. The largest being K100 Senior at 41. We had 32 in K100 Junior. And the next largest would have been Mini Swift at 24.
Yeah, 24 Mini Swift, 19 in the micro category, 19 in both X30 Junior and X30 Pro. 5 drivers in the KA100 Master category, balloon that to 13 rather, when you added the Super Masters drivers. And the same goes for the 10 drivers in Pro Shifter, 1 Shifter Master and 2 Super Masters drivers, 180 all told on the weekend. David, still 41 drivers on that track. That's a big field for KA Senior.
Yeah, not big enough to force the ABCD heat race format. So that was a positive in terms of that. So everybody got on track. One thing that we've been kind of watching with Supercars USA is the starts, and for USPKS, they did a really good job getting the starts slowed down a little bit, closer to turn one. So we didn't have, like we have seen in the past years at MCC, the really crazy starts. Everybody was on their game in terms of being cautious and trying to get through turn one. Again, we always say you can't win the race in turn one, but you can certainly lose it.
100% that. Good stuff. Good insight. All right, we're going to get into our first break. When we come back, David will provide us with some insider information. The Paddock Pass, brought to you by Stilo USA, up next. What brand is known around the world for its innovation and success? It is SodiCart. And in the U.S., Velocity Racing is their distributor and official race team. The SodiCart brand is among the top chassis around the globe and here in North America. And the recent successes include the FIA Karting World Championships in KZ last year and in multiple championships and at different levels here in the USA. The French manufacturer is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products. The Sodi Racing chassis line offers products in classes from mini karts to KZ, all based on years of development and championship seasons around the world. Velocity Racing also works with its expanded dealer network, bringing the Sodi brand to several local clubs and regional programs. Visit velocityracing.com to learn more about the SodiCart chassis and the racing program, or call 407-270-3042 to become part of the Velocity Racing network today. Velocity Racing and SodiCart, leaders in the karting industry. Klotz Lubricants has a long history in the sport of karting, with over 60 years of developing products for the motorsports industry. A new product introduced by Klotz combines its technology with the knowledge and experience of one of the sport's legends, Lynn Haddock. The new Haddock Special Formula 2-stroke engine oil is blended at the Klotz facility in Fort Wayne, Indiana. The blend uses a formula that Lynn developed and refined throughout years of racetrack testing. The 2-stroke engine oil is designed specifically for karting engines, using a proprietary blend of synthetic and castor-based oils. The synthetic-based oils provide wear protection at low temperatures, and the castor-based oils provide wear protection at high temperatures and high RPMs. The fluid is anodized to mitigate corrosion and deposit formation and can be mixed with either gasoline or methanol. The new Haddock Special Formula from Klotz is available now through the KlotzLube.com website and will be coming to many kart shops across the country in the near future. Klotz and the Haddock Special Formula, bringing together decades of experience to the karting industry. From the people who bring you the Challenge of the Americas comes a new event to celebrate the start of the fall season in the Pacific Northwest. FTK Promotions is proud to host the inaugural Cascadia Karting Cup presented by Shinko Kart Racing Tires, set for the October 2nd to 4th weekend at the historic Pat Akers Racing Complex. Karters can expect a fun-filled, competitive weekend at the Canby, Oregon facility that already has support from racers, teams, and kart shops in the Pacific Northwest region. 10 classes are confirmed for the inaugural Cascadia Karting Cup, featuring a 2-cycle and 4-cycle division for each age group, including cadet, junior, senior, and masters. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine platform will run with all 4 age groups. Miami, Vortex, and X Series engines are eligible in the single-speed air-cooled categories for all 4 age levels, and the event will also include the Shifter Light and Shifter Heavy divisions open to KZ and Rock Shifter drivers to round out the categories, all competing on the Shinko Racing Kart Tire compounds. To learn more, visit the Cascadia Karting Cup page on challengekarting.com and mark your calendar to join in on the fun and excitement at Pat Akers Racing Complex this October. Welcome back to episode number 171 of the EKN Debrief, capping off our coverage for this past weekend's USPKS Ohio Grand Prix down at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Rob Howden here alongside David Cole, who is, of course, trackside throughout the weekend. Let's go into the Paddock Pass presented by Stilo USA. As a world leader in personal racing safety products, Simpson Performance Products is now the official North American distributor for Stilo helmets. In addition to their popular auto racing helmets, Stilo is excited to have made the move into karting. Stilo has 3 helmets designed and manufactured specifically for karting. The ST6 KRT helmets, including the new ST6 CMR Lite and the new ST6 CMR Zero. Complete your safety gear with the Stilo Carbon Curve-Out Rib and Chest Protector. For more information, check them out at stilohelmets.com or by following them on social media at Stilo USA. All right, Dave, what do you got for the paddock pass? I know you got a couple things in throughout the day. You had to deal with weather, obviously, was one of the things you dealt with, but able to file a couple of notes throughout the day.
Yeah, the first one, third trip to MCC for USPKS. Skipped last year going to Ohio, but returned this year for a third trip in 4 years. Just kind of outlined the weather that was coming and the weather that had been there going into the weekend, and the first of 2 trips to Ohio for the 2026 season as well.
Indeed. Yeah, capping off the season in Ohio, right? Last 2 races.
That is correct. Yeah, we're going to head to Lorain, Ohio Kartplex here at the end of September. So, so kind of just the opening paragraph of the weekend.
What else we got? Obviously, one of the big news pieces, not so much big news, but it was cool to see Blake Nash, continuing with factory karts on the weekend.
Yeah, Nash kept the factory karts over from the week before at the RMC Trophy Final. Took them over to Ohio in the MCC facility for the USPKS round. Again, kind of in a test mode, kind of just trying out the factory karts. Got invited to race with them, not only at the RMC Trophy Final, but at the America's Trophy event that was at MCC and back in June. So this was his second time there under the factory karts chassis, but this time without the actual factory kart support. He was there under their Nash Motorsports trailer. And just still trying to feel it out and looking at options down the road. We'll see if that's going to continue. Obviously, Supernats would be quite interesting to see maybe him on a factory karts for the Rotax class, and then the OTK brand for X30. We'll see. We'll see what happens. He says nothing's set in stone yet. Just again, trying to feel it out.
I like it. David, you also talked about the fact that Parallel Motorsport USA welcomed some new drivers on the weekend.
Yeah, one of their bigger tents of the season was at MCC with, I believe, 8 drivers under the tent. They had a little bit of a bigger one at Newcastle, but again, a little bit. They continue to kind of grow that program. Again, Florida based. They have a lot of dealers that they continue to work with, including last week or the week before this race at the Florida Karting Championships. They are looking at well over 20 drivers that'll be at the Super National. So talked to Ben Crittenden. They're very happy with the continued progress they can continue to make. Not only with expanding the race team, but again with the product that they do have under the Parallel brand.
Good stuff. All right, off to another quick break, folks. When we get back, time to get into the race report. Let's go class by class. We'll get right back at it after these quick messages and the race report presented by Kart CRG USA. Parallel is among the winningest brands in the USA and around the world. The Parallel Le Mans full-size chassis for junior and senior classes and the Parallel Opportunity model for cadet divisions have earned success weekend after weekend at all the major championships and events in both the USA and throughout Europe. The Parallel chassis lineup also includes the Invader shifter, along with the Daytona 4-cycle chassis and the Delfino Kid Kart. Karters can head to the ParalleluSA.com website where the entire chassis line and parts are available to you, with shipping available all across North America. Parallel USA partners with several companies and race teams across the country to provide a strong dealer network to represent the brand locally and at the national level to support drivers throughout North America. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive a Parallel. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry, and with over 30 years of combined karting experience, we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all of our products are just a mouse click away. We continue to add to our growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, the ceramic product line, driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, smoker performance sprockets, OTK products, AIM, MG tires, and of course, the championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. Be sure to stop by the Franklin trailer during the United States Pro Kart Series events as the official trackside vendor. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com.
Do you dream of becoming a professional race car driver but don't have millions of dollars in the bank to get there? Then listen up. Multi-time national karting champion Race Liberante here to help you achieve your racing goals. Most karting careers hit a dead end. You race, you develop your skills, but there's no clear next step. That's where Fat Karting League changes the game. At Fat, talent comes first. Our Arrive and Drive Electric Karting Championship gives drivers a professional environment, elite coaching, structured driver feedback, and a proven pathway from karts to cars. No kart ownership, no race team, no massive budget required. Just show up, learn, race, and prove yourself. And for the most talented drivers, the opportunity is real. Fat Karting League awards a seat in British Formula 4 worth more than $500,000 each year, giving aspiring racers a genuine route towards a professional motorsports career. So whether you're just starting out or dreaming of competing at the highest levels in racing, Fat Karting League is the proven and affordable pathway forward. Visit www.fat-kartingleague.com and start your journey today.
Back at it here on the EKN Debrief on the EKN Radio Network. David Cole checking in to provide his final report on the weekend, having been down at the USPKS Ohio Grand Prix at Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati throughout the weekend, dodging the rain, but getting a chance to see some great racing. We'll dive now into the race report presented today by Kart CRG USA. CRG is one of the most iconic brands in karting, and we're primed and ready with new material and a never-ending focus on winning. Kart CRG USA is the North American distributor for all CRG products. Based outside of Houston, Texas, Kart CRG USA supports dealers across the continent, reaching every corner of North America. Check out the CRG KT5 for tag and shifter racing, the Black Mirror for cadet competition, and the FS4 for Briggs. Longtime CRG drivers will be happy to know that the CRG Road Rebel, the standard in quality and performance, is still available. For more information on the CRG product line, head to kartcrgusa.com, and to inquire about a North American dealer near you, please email us at info@kartcrgusa.com. All right, Dave, we're going to dive right in with the pro categories here in this segment of the race report. We'll begin with X30 Pro, presented by Rawlson Performance Group. Here's the headline, David. Fill us in with a lot of information. The headline is, Massimino grabs second of the season.
The headline category at USPKS was almost dominated by Paulie Massimino. Fast time qualifying at 55.439 put him on top in the early Saturday morning session. Pulled out to the win in the opening heat race ahead of Blake Nash, who we just talked about on the factory kart, and John Antonino, the driver who we got together with at the, Newcastle round there. Last in June. I'm trying to remember when we were there. Yeah, June. Yeah. So right. Again, I'm forgetting it's August. I'm thinking still we're in July.
We've been rolling through. Yeah. Mid-August, David.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's
3 crazy. Straight weekends in a row, David. We'll get you a little burned out.
Yeah. So but BJR continued up front this time with James Overbeck jumping out to the win in the second heat race. Ahead of Massimino and Davin Roberts in the third spot. But in the super heat, it became Jake Drew. Drew, who was quickest in Friday practice when it was dry, Didn't quite get the qualifying session he wanted to, but came through with the superheat win and to kind of propel him up the orders as he would start second alongside Massimino for the main event. They were able to kind of break away early on. Drew leading majority of that middle portion of the race until Massimino went by with a few laps remaining. But that's when the back and forth kind of triggered, and the second group began to close in on that fight for P1, bringing basically 4 more karts into the battle. Massimino was able to pretty much fend off Drew, who came under attack from the second group that came up. On that final circuit, Antonino was able to put himself into the second spot, and it was a drag race to the line coming out of that last corner with Antonino coming up just short at the line, 96 thousandths of a second separating the two, with Massimino securing a second victory on the year.
Yeah, heck of a season for Massimino. We'll get into that in a second. David Roberts coming home in third spot. Alan Isambard in fourth, and Jake Drew finishing up P5. Dave, if you look at this, what are your takeaways from the X30 Pro race down at MCC?
Yeah, again, Massimino having one of his best seasons ever. Winning twice now in the 3 rounds here of the X30 Pro category. And showing well at the SCUSA Pro Tour. Finishing third in, I believe, that championship as well, and then winning KA Senior Championship. Just a phenomenal year so far for Massimino.
You mentioned James Overbeck, obviously winning heat race number 2 outside of row 2 for the start of the main after a third in the super heat. What happened to him in terms of the race itself?
Yeah, he was a driver on the move. Looked like it was going to be a 3-driver fight there. Unfortunately, Overbeck suffered a broken reed, so that put him on the sideline for the rest of the race after early on that mechanical happened. So tough break for him, as he felt this was probably his best ever performance in X30 Pro. Any
other takeaways for X30 Pro?
Yeah, just again, multiple drivers in the fight. Massimino, Antonino, Roberts, Isambard, and Drew, the top 5 there. You had Bonilla that was up there until a penalty took him out of the top 5. Nash was there. They didn't quite have the setup as the humidity continued to increase, and had a mechanical issue in the superheat as well that kind of put him back on the grid there, starting outside the top 5. So. Again, lots of different drivers in the mix. I don't necessarily think we're going to see that one driver kind of dominant performances we've seen in the past in the Pro X30 categories anymore.
Interesting. All right, let's go to Pro Shifter, presented by Velocity Racing. Here's the headline: Bailiff triumphs in backyard.
Yeah, good little battle all weekend long with essentially a 3-driver fight. You had Marcus Kayak, the Estonian driver, coming back to race with McCrone Motorsports on the Formula K, setting a fast time of 52.401. That was quickest in the session, and he was able to hold on for the win in the opening heat after battling with Bailiff, who pulled off after a couple laps a axle shift, which was a strange mechanical for him. Excuse me. So the axle shifted, so he pulled off knowing something wasn't right, and kind of helped save some of the equipment. Because you looked at it visibly, it wasn't too bad, but it was just enough to kind of upset his performance on track. So Kayak won over Adrian Renaudin, with Justin White in third. But then in heat number 2, it was a mechanical for Kayak with a flat tire after some hard racing with him in Bailiff. The front nose cone got into the inside the rim of the I think it was the left rear for Kayak. So that bent the what's inside the rim? Why can't I? Bead breaker. They're not the bead breaker. You
mean where you put the air in?
No, not the.
Bead lock.
Bead lock. Thank you. Yes, bead lock. I couldn't think of the word.
You did day off.
It was, and Rob, the unique part about it wasn't those big ones that you typically see. It was one of the smaller ones. Yeah. So very strange to have that.
Just snap it right off.
not off, but bent it enough to where it was a slow enough leak. So you bend in one of the bead locks, it's going to leak. So
for sure.
He had to pull off. So Bailiff took the win over Renaudin with Ian Quinn in third. Superheat was Kayak holding off and essentially running a pretty good defensive line through much of the race. And he came across the line as the winner, but a driving down penalty put him back into the 4th spot, giving Bailiff the win ahead of Renaudin with Matteo Pappas in third. That set the grid for Renaudin and Bailiff on the front row, Pappas and Justin White in row 2, putting Kayak back into the P5 position. He was the driver on the move, coming up from 5th, got into the 3rd really quickly, got around Renaudin for 2nd, but Bailiff was able to hold steady with his lead, essentially winning I think it was only 18 laps for the main. I'll have to double check that, but they did reduce their laps. They all were for the reduction of laps, which is quite unique, as I believe the Pro X or X30 Pro ran 22 laps while these guys only ran 18. So very interesting. But Bailiff held on, going wire to wire to secure his first big win at MCC in his own backyard, winning by 2.6 seconds over Kayak.
Yeah, Renaudin finishing 3rd, White 4th, Pappas 5th. Let's go to the takeaways now, David. You talk about some issues with Kayak tire struggles. Give me your insight on that.
Well, not only the flat tire, but they said they're having a hard time keeping the right or the rear tires underneath.
Really?
They had some issues with that. Another card under their tent as well too. So that was kind of their struggle on the weekend. So not only getting a flat, but actually the wear and tear on the tires. So they weren't sure if they just got a bad tire or what the situation was with that.
Well, now this is the new Formula K program, right? Coming back over with McCorn Motorsports. Am I correct on that?
Mm-hmm.
So they're obviously taking the time to learn the chassis itself and get things dialed in. I would assume, right, on the tracks.
I would
over
assume
here.
that too. Yeah, they feel
sense,
they feel it was a bad tire. They
Okay.
don't feel it was set up. So
All right.
take it for what it's worth.
Yeah. Let's talk about Gavin Bailiff stepped up in a couple of races here.
Yeah, again, winning this one, he hadn't done that, hadn't won kind of a big one at his backyard, so he got that done. He said in our interview he would have liked to have been the Spring Nats, but he'll take this one. And again, it kind of just still puts him up there as, he has the ability to be up front and be one of the top contenders, beating Kayak and Renaudin, who are international drivers. That certainly does that.
Yeah, again, if you roll off the trailer correctly, you got to think that the Gavin Bailiff is a guy that can win any race he gets to, right? There's a lot of top drivers
rolling out of the garage because there is no trailer.
The garage here, 100%. Yeah, not at home, but you know what I'm saying. Like you just look at him as one of the top drivers in the country right now. He's one of those guys that you and I talk to, and if you're there, you're there. He can go after a race win anytime he unloads. Yeah,
it's consistency, making sure you get the consistency there.
Yeah. What else you got for takeaways in the pro shifter class?
Yeah, and speaking of consistencies, Renaudin was there, but it just seemed like he was maybe a 10th or 2 off a little bit in terms of pace. Not quite the Renaudin we saw in Tucson, so not sure if it was just dialing back the intensity. But certainly, obviously, still fast. Yeah. I just didn't quite see the what's the word? I guess intensity would be the word. The fire from him on the weekend, but still pace is right there. So again, don't keep counting him out moving forward for the rest of the year.
Not at all. No way. All right. After another break, we come back. We'll continue the race report presented by Kart CRG USA on this edition of the Debrief Race Report podcast. We'll go KA Senior, KA Junior, and X30 Junior after this break. Fast, fair, and fun. Ignite Karting offers you all of that at an affordable price. Ignite Karting utilizes the spec Margay Ignite K3 chassis with a Briggs & Stratton 206 engine and the Hoosier R80 tire. Everyone in the rookie, junior, senior, heavy, and masters classes compete on the same Ignite K3 chassis, which puts all the emphasis squarely on driver development. Additionally, Ignite Karting is accessible at the local, regional, and national level. Special events for the season include the Ignite Majors that begin with the annual trip to the Daytona International Speedway as part of the WKA Daytona Kart Week, running in both the sprint and road racing events. Those in the Midwest can enjoy the regionally based Ignite Challenge, featuring 5 iconic facilities. Local club programs have also been established in states all across the country, Idaho to Texas, Nebraska to New York, with more tracks and clubs joining the Ignite karting program. Be part of fast, fun, and great memories with Margay Racing at an Ignite track near you. All information on Ignite events and Ignite kart packages, including dealers in your area, are available at ignitekarting.com. Get off the couch and onto the track this year. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion.
Do you want to become a professional race car driver? Are you ready to take your first steps into car racing? If so, Allenberg Racing School is the ideal place for you to make that happen. And as a bonus, our school is located at everyone's bucket list track, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. From your first steps in a Formula car, all the way to racing in the USF Pro Championships and the USF Junior Series, it's all part of our program at Allenberg Racing Schools and our competition operation, Berg Racing. At Allenberg Racing Schools, you'll learn from a former Formula One driver and will be driving a full-on carbon fiber tub Tatis race car with aerodynamic wings and racing slicks. Not an old technology tube frame car. You'll get more track time per day than at any other school. And our 3-day and advanced programs will have you prepared to race competitively with our Berg Racing program, which participates in both the Ligier JFC Championship and the USF Junior Championship. To learn more, check us out online at allenbergracingschools.com. Be a racer.
There's no other brand in karting more recognized across the globe than Rotax. Race Rotax is proud to provide a platform for Rotaxians to compete across the U.S., from the grassroots level all the way to the international stage, featuring the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. The path to Portugal for the 2026 RMC Grand Finals begins with the inaugural season for the RMC Americas Trophy. This 2-event, 4-round championship begins at the Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona on March 20th to the 22nd and concludes at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati in Batavia, Ohio on June 5th to 7th. 4 tickets to the 2026 Rotax Grand Finals will be awarded through the best 3 of 4 championship format. The emerging FC Shifter program, featuring the FC85 and the FC125, will be part of the RMC Americas Trophy program for those looking to shift gears in Arizona and Ohio. Be sure to add the RMC Trophy Final to your schedule, set for July 31st to August 2nd at the Newcastle Motorsports Park in Newcastle, Indiana. Additional tickets to the 2026 Rotax Grand Finals will be awarded through this one-off event. Visit RaceRotax.com to learn more about the RMC Americas Trophy program. Race Rotax, an experience like no other. Welcome back to episode number 171 of the EKN Debrief Show. It is August the 11th, 2026. David Cole wrapping up his coverage of the USBKS Ohio Grand Prix down at MCC. We'll jump now into the next segment of the race report presented by Kart CRG USA. KA100 Senior, presented by Brandon Jarczyk Crack Racing. The headline on the weekend, Overbeck becomes 3rd different winner on season.
It was a 3-driver fight all weekend long in K100 Senior. Massimino struck first at 57.809 with Caden McQueen coming through with the opening heat race before James Overbeck won in heat number 2. So those are the 3 drivers that went first, second, or third over the 2 heat races. It was the same in the super heat, this time with McQueen taking the win ahead of Massimino and Overbeck to secure the pole position for the main event. McQueen, however, only led 1 lap. That was the opening circuit before a broken reed he suffered early on in the race that eventually took him out of the running as he fell down the order and retired with only a couple laps into the main event. Overbeck took over the lead and was able to take advantage of fighting for second behind him early on in the race, establishing basically a 2-second advantage over the early laps of the race. And then over the 20-lap race was able to extend it out to 3.5 seconds as Overbeck took his first victory of the season.
Yeah, Overbeck, Massimino, Isaac Malkit in third, Edgar Rodriguez in fourth, and Donovan Bonilla rounding out the top five. David, what are your takeaways from the KA 100 senior category?
Well, the top two title contenders continued their run at the front with Massimino and Overbeck. Overbeck actually came in as the championship leader, winning the main event, so might keep him at the top of the standings, something we'll obviously look at during our Outlap preview podcast next month. So yeah, they're the two drivers to beat, that's for sure.
You mentioned a tough break for Caden McQueen. Looks like the pace was there, but man, the issue, that broken reed, man, in the final, horrible.
Yeah, I talked to him Friday. He was really had a lot of positivity coming off a home race where he had the speed. Luck didn't go his way. Going into Friday practice, he felt like the package they had that weekend was going to be good. He proved it on the racetrack. Unfortunately, the bad luck in the main event with the broken reed cost him a chance at showing a good result. So definitely he's going to be one looking for revenge when we get to the finale.
What do you have to wrap things up for the takeaways? I see it here on the script, but I'll let you kind of roll it.
Go ahead. Yeah, you can say it.
You and I talked about it before. The amount of pro drivers still running in the KA category. What are your thoughts on having 3 pros in the top 5?
Yeah, 3 pros in the top 5. Again, that just kind of dilutes it a little bit. Although they didn't take the top 3 positions, it was first, second, and fifth with Overbeck, Massimino, and Bonilla. I think they were the only drivers double dipping. Eli Warren did it. I think he had a couple top 10 finishes, but other than that, they were the only ones that did do double duty here this weekend. So I still think moving forward, I kind of threw a bug in Mark Coates' ear about it. I haven't really talked to the drivers too much about it. I don't think BJR would be really happy about that if they were to keep the pro drivers out of the KA 100 senior ranks. But, I think looking at it long term, it's going to help numbers. And again, provide that pro, semi-pro type scenario that we saw in the 90s and 2000s with shifter kart racing.
Yeah,
and even in 2010s.
I think, David, you probably draw more club and regional drivers into a big race like that. You know what I mean? If you're a club racer or a regional racer and a major event comes to your state, maybe your home track, maybe you're not going to go if you know you're going to be battling against 10 to 15 of the top single speed drivers in the country in the KA class, right? Maybe, hey, I'd rather have a shot at running against some of the guys that run nationally but are not, like you said, maybe the semi pros, maybe the juniors that move up to KA before pro for X30. So I don't know. I'm kind of on board with you on that. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yep. On to KA 100 Junior, presented by BBS Race Engines. The headline is Palacio leads train to victory.
Yeah, when I say train, I mean the train of the whole field, as defensive racing was kind of the story here in the main event. Not so much in the heat races. Good racing with Travis Pettit taking fast time and qualifying before Nico Katowski, and Marco Samet were able to win the 2 heat races. Palacio came through with the super heat win. So we had 3 different drivers winning the 3 races, with Pettit being another driver and fast time in qualifying. But as he was the most consistent over that, earning the grid or the pole position for the main event alongside Palacio, Tristan Murphy, Braden Wagner, and Marco Samet started making up the top 5 for the grid. Main event, as I said, it was defensive driving. That's pretty much what we saw in the junior ranks on Sunday. KA Junior was the first one on track that we saw it happen. At one point, Travis Pettit got shuffled back all the way to 9th with about 4 laps remaining. He was able to somehow work his way back up into the 2nd spot by the last lap, and nearly pulled off grabbing the victory from Palacio, who reached the checker flag first by 41 thousandths of a second. But yeah, a very defensive drive with Palacio picking up his first win on the season.
Yeah, Pettit P2, Tristan Murphy in the 3rd spot, Marco Samet in 4th, and Wagner rounding out.
Braden Wagner
rounding out the top 5. Dave, let's dive in. Did you want to talk about Katowski as well? Was he P3 on track? Pushback.
Yeah,
bumper.
P3. Yeah. So this tells you how close the field was at the end there. So Katowski, P3 on track, dropped to 14th with only a 3-second pushback bumper penalty. So
Okay, all right.
3 seconds separating third through 14th.
Well, that's what happens, David. As we roll into your takeaways right now, when you're running big time defensive up front, you know you're not going to be able to pull away from those guys 6th, 7th, 8th on back to 14th or 15th. Sounds like it was when you mentioned train in the headline, I think you're exactly right. Sounds like it was nose to tail, locomotive to caboose at the back. Everybody was just lining right up.
Yeah, I like to think of it as Palacio was playing Duke-like defense out there in the main event. For those not familiar with what Duke means, Duke University basketball team where they play very, very good defense under their old former coach, Mike Krzyzewski.
There you go. David pull a little NCCA in there for you.
I love that's basketball is my second love.
I know. I get all of it. All right, let's go to what else you got for takeaways?
Yeah, and that's the thing too about the defensive line racing, Rob, is somebody's got to step up and be the aggressor.
Yeah,
and it was Nico Katowski. He was the more aggressive driver in this field. I really thought he was going to be the one to maybe get up. He did lead at one point, but the pushback bumper did catch him off and took him out of the top 5.
All right, let's go to X30 Junior, presented by Speed Concepts Racing. Obviously, so many of the same names in this particular category up front as well. The headline, Murphy claims first at USPKS.
It almost was a sweep on the weekend in this category by Travis Pettit, who set fast time in qualifying, won the 2 heat races pretty solidly, and even in the super heat was pretty much in control. So that gave him the pole position. He retained the pole position for the main event with Marco Samet on the outside of the front row, Tristan Murphy and Lucas Palacio row 2, and then Nico Katowski, who we just talked about, in the 5th starting spot. Defensive lines again happened on Sunday in this race as they went after Pettit, and it was actually Pettit running a defensive line for the early portion of the race. He got into lead, or he was in the lead. Katowski was able to work his way up towards the front at one point. He got shuffled back. Palacio was up there as well too. Eventually, it came down to what happened on lap 18 as Katowski was leading, went defensive in turn 1, got the Palacio, who with a run on the outside, the two kind of made contact at the apex. Katowski was actually over the curb, which I think kind of sent them off into the grass where they ended up and falling down the order. This gave Tristan Murphy the lead and a sizable one as he went on to lead the final couple of laps unchallenged to the checkered flag, winning by over a second for his first USPKS victory of the season.
Yeah, they're top 10 for Braden Wagner as well. 5th in the KA, 2nd in X30 Junior. Let's talk about Nathan Golseth, David. Big run from deep in the pack.
Yeah, Golseth actually found himself backwards at one point in this race early on. Fell all the way back to 17th and was able to work his way all the way back up to 3rd in just 8 laps. So that tells you everybody was right there.
Again, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Travis Pettit 4th, Win Gottschalk rounding out the top 5. What are your takeaways on this one here?
This one with the defensive lines, we saw a lot more drivers making the move on the outside. The key points were turn 2. You ran a defensive line through 1, gave you a little bit more run on the outside of going to turn 2. But also gave you that inside line into turn 3, which is a very fast corner coming off turn 2. So a lot of outside moves there, a lot of outside moves in turn 4 as well, in other parts of the racetrack. So I think with the more power in the X30, the outside line was a little bit of a better opportunity to fend off the defensive lines that the leaders were running.
Yeah, I like one of your takeaways here, Dave, is never give up. I think that's probably a straight up with when you have races like that, you have a little bit of contact, you never know when you're going to find yourself back on the podium.
Yeah, Golseth going from 17th to 3rd just in 8 laps. You just never give up. So keep, you may spin off. Well, I guess at MCC, they're going to run defensive, so never give up.
I love it. Great stuff. What else you got? Last but not least, number of teams on the podium?
Yeah, 5 different teams on the podium. RPM, Rollison Performance Group, Speed Concepts Racing, Brandon Jarzak Racing, and then MPG. So 5 different teams on the podium.
Yeah, I always like seeing that across the board. Back for another break. When we come back, we'll do KA100 Master and Supermaster, Shifter Master and Supermaster, Mini Swift, and Micro. We'll cap off our race report after this. All over the karting world, everyone knows OTK is the gold standard for quality and performance. In the United States, OTK USA is the source for all things OTK. 8 brands under the OTK USA banner are winning races and championships across the country in national programs like the Rock Cup USA Florida Winter Tour, the Challenge of the Americas, the SCUSA Pro Tour and Winter Series, the United States Pro Kart Series, and even more programs throughout the country. And OTK products are also front and center on the podium of club and regional races from coast to coast. Tony Kart, Cosmic, Prix, EOS, and Red Speed have been joined by the Gallard, LN Racing Kart, and CS55 brands. To learn more about a specific product line or to find the OTK USA dealer near you, visit otkusa.com. Specific chassis territories are still available, so kart shops interested in adding a winning component to their product lineups can contact OTK USA directly. OTK, the gold standard of karting.
The karting championship that's taken Europe by storm and helped launch today's top open-wheel stars is now in the United States. Introducing Champions of the Future America. Champions of the Future America is a 9-round series that welcomes drivers across multiple classes, including Mini, KA100, and X30. Champions of the Future America tours 2 of the Southwest's premier karting facilities, K1 Circuit in Southern California and Spring Mountain Karting Complex in Nevada. Drivers will compete across 8 unique track layouts in pursuit of a prize pool valued at over $130,000. The ultimate reward? Our X30 Pro champion will win an all-expenses-paid trip to France for a 3-day Formula 4 training camp at the legendary Winfield Racing School at Circuit Paul Ricard. Learn more about Champions of the Future America. Register now at championskartingamerica.com. That's championskartingamerica.com.
Are you a club racer looking for that next challenge or a driver searching for more racing? Look no further than the leading karting series in the Midwest. The Route 66 Sprint Series is focused on providing a fun family atmosphere while also offering a perfect stepping stone for those at a club level looking to take their racing to the next phase. With 11 different classes, the Route 66 Sprint Series has racing for all ages, utilizing IAME and Briggs & Stratton engines along with their new shifter categories for senior and master drivers. The 4-event Route 66 Sprint Series calendar has stopped at some of the Midwest's finest karting facilities. Kicking off the season in April will be the Newcastle Motorsports Park in Indiana before traveling to the recently repaved Norway Motorsports Park in Illinois this June. The month of July takes the program to Millwright Raceway, the home of the Badger Karting Club, before setting up for the series finale at the historic Road America facility and the Briggs & Stratton Motorplex in August. Whether you're trying to make the step up to regional racing or a seasoned pro of the sport, the Route 66 Sprint Series is right for you. For more information, go to Route66karting.com and find us on social media at Route 66 Sprint Series.
Welcome back to episode number 171 of the EKN Debrief. David Cole wrapping up his coverage from this past weekend's United States Pro Kart Series Ohio Grand Prix at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Let's dive here and kind of cap things off here on our race report. Again, brought to you by Kart CRG USA. Let's go to KA100 Master, presented by Nash Motorsports, and the Super Masters class brought to you by TKG Bureau Art USA. Here is the headline for this double class category. RJD wins in return.
Renato Jader-David, the RJD. That's the easiest way to say his name and make it sound cool. He came back after not running a kart, never being in a kart since last Supernat. So since November. So this was his return, kind of a warm up to return back to the Super Nationals 29. So he's set and ready to go. And set the stage in qualifying at 59.635. However, it was local driver Andy Kutcher that was the challenger and essentially the top driver in the racing, as he won the opening heat race and the super heat, as RJD won the second heat. Kutcher ended up being the pole position driver for the main event with Renato Jader-David on the outside of the front row. First lap of the main event, however, was the critical point as RJD made a move on Kutcher coming out of the slow corner onto the front straight. He drifted wide, looked like he didn't know Kutcher was on his outside, pushed Kutcher all the way off to the grass and over a cone, and actually a very scary moment as Kutcher spun around and was sitting right there on the front straightaway. As we all saw videos last month, we did not want to see anything happen. Thankfully, all the other drivers did not connect with Kutcher as he was spun around. He did get going, however, falling all the way back to the tail end of the field as it was a 3-driver breakaway at the front with RJD, Mike Rollison, and Enrique Baca from Mexico making his first USPKS start. They were the top 3, but eventually it was going to be 4 with Scott Falcone, who had a broken reed all Saturday, found the speed overnight and was able to run the top 3 down. And so it was 4 drivers briefly until contact between Baca and Falcone shuffled up the order. Falcone retired with damage to his machine, and Baca fell back to 4th as Andy Kutcher had already made his way back up towards the front and was already into 3rd, and then moved to 2nd as the next lap as Mike Rollison suffered a broken reed. And so he pretty much limped his way home towards the checkered flag, but unable to contend for the top 5 as RJD went on to score the victory by 3 seconds.
So Andy Kutcher in 2nd, and is he the winner in the Supermaster category?
Correct. Supermaster winner. Enrique Baca, 3rd overall, 3rd overall. Todd Shambo, 4th overall, 2nd in Supermaster, and Scott Carapolati, 3rd in Supermaster and 5th overall.
There you go. What's your take away for the KA Master and Supermaster class?
Competitive weekend, with this group. Didn't have a dominating performance. RJD seemed to be the driver to beat. Kutcher did that a couple times, so that was good to see. I would have liked to have seen Kutcher and him go at it for the entire main event. Unfortunately, we didn't get that with the slight contact there coming onto the straightaway. Yep. But overall, a good competitive weekend.
All right, let's go to Shifter Master presented by Orsolon Racing and Shifter Supermaster presented by Maranello Kart USA. Here's the headline for a short field: Pegram defends home turf.
Yeah, the only session that Pegram did not finish P1 was in the second heat when contact at the start took him out of the running. So that was the only blemish that he had. Other than that, the main event, which was a shortened 15-lap main event with Pegram pulling away to a 10-second margin of victory.
Yevgeny Panenko and Brad Danoff, the other 2 drivers in the field, only 3 in total in the category. David, that leads to your takeaway pretty easily.
Well, we've already talked about master stuff, and
where are they?
And we'll get into that more at another time. But Pegram and Danoff were super masters, while Panenko was the only master shifter driver. So, I guess all 3 are master shifter drivers.
That's it.
They really don't have a handle on how to score this and how to do this correctly. My opinion would have been just to give 1 trophy to the top Supermaster driver because of the numbers.
Yes.
I don't know why we have to have 2 separate championships. It just doesn't make sense, but I did not have any say in that.
All right, Mini Swift presented by Parolin Motorsport USA. The headline is Brody wins in 3-wide finish.
Yeah, one of the more exciting finishes that we did have on the weekend. And again, a very competitive weekend in the Mini Swift category. Jake Manalio was a driver with the fast time in qualifying, a 102.245, as he was the quickest driver there. But it was 2 different drivers winning the heat races. It's Dutch Westbrook went on to take the win, while Mason Brody won the second one, with Manalio finishing 3rd and 2nd. But he got shuffled back in the superheat even, this time with Dutch Westbrook coming through and Liam Francisco up to the 2nd spot as he put his name into the chat, with Mason Brody finishing in 3rd. So the grid ended up with Westbrook on the pole position alongside Mason Brody. Jake Manalio and Slate Harrell in row 2, and then Liam Francisco in the 5th spot. Main event time, however, it was Mason Brody and Aiden Go that were able to break away after Dutch Westbrook won the opening or the first 5 laps, but then he got shuffled back all the way into the 7th spot. So while Brody and Go were able to break away, Westbrook was on the charge back, got by Manalio to take over 3rd, and essentially ran down the top 2 by himself. It was quite interesting, Rob. The top 2 never really fought, never really battled for position, but Westbrook just had an amazing pace and was able to run down the leaders. He brought Manalio with him once he got around Jake for that 3rd spot. So it ended up being 4 drivers there in the final 2 laps to battle it for the win. Westbrook, however, made a slight mistake in the final lap, cost him a little bit of real estate as the other 3 drivers went 3 wide down the front straight to the checkered flag. Brody was the first one down with Aiden Go going on the outside, and then Jake Manalio going on the inside to the checkered flag, with Brody getting to the line first by just 0.03 of a second.
Wow, 0.03 of a second. Brody over Go, Manalio 3rd, Westbrook 4th, Harrell 5th. David, into the takeaways. Let's talk about slight mistake, final lap costing Westbrook there.
Yeah, certainly had the pace. Just it was kind of like the defensive, like I want to try the over under, didn't quite work out. And so he kind of got caught off guard and lost a little bit of real estate there. Otherwise, it could have been 4 wide. I don't know how they would have made it 4 wide, but it could have been 4 wide.
3 different winners on the season. Big. I love seeing that, the different drivers standing on top of the box.
Yeah, Rob, the unique thing was in every category going into the weekend, we had a different winner. So some of the categories we've had 3 different winners. Some of them we've seen repeat winners. So, but this one, 3 different winners on the season. This one's going to have a interesting championship chase as well. And
Dave, we talked about it in the last segment. 5 different teams on the podium as well.
Yeah, Speed Concepts Racing, Parallel Motorsport USA, Ryan Perry Motorsport, Team Bennick, and then MPG Motorsports.
Good stuff. I like to see that. Micro Swift presented by Team Ferris Racing. Here's your headline: Francisco wins 2nd straight.
Yeah, last month was a sweep for Francisco. This one was not. This one he came through in the end, as it was Bo Wyatt, the driver to beat early on, fast time in qualifying, and then winning both heat races. Unfortunately, contact in the superheat dropped him down the order. I forgot to check that out. I'm not sure exactly what happened there as I pull it up. I think it was contact dropped him down the order. So that put him back in 9th on the grid with Dusty Strayer winning the superheat and earning the pole position alongside Braxton Shiflett for Parolin, and then Jack Katowski, Liam Compatiello in 4th, and then Francisco starting in the 5th position. The main event, 18 laps, we saw 8 lead changes alone at the start finish line. I'm sure there was more than that throughout the race. Multiple drivers in the hunt. You had Strayer leading, you had Shiflett leading, you had Katowski leading at one point. I'm not sure if Compatiello did or not, but Tristan Francisco certainly did. He was able to get his way up to the front, led, I think, the most part of the final part of the race. But again, a drag race to the line, as we typically do see in the Micro Swift category, with Francisco holding off Jack Katowski by just 0.09 of a second.
Yeah, some close finishes for sure. Shiflett ends up on the box there in 3rd. Dusty Strayer and Liam Compatiello rounding out your top 5. Into the takeaways, David. Shiflett enters the chat, as you say.
Yeah, again, that's what we kind of watch through the Micro Swift category, is drivers kind of stepping up. Who's going to be the next to be in contention? And now it's Braxton Shiflett that is showed his way as a contender now. And, we've seen Katowski win and dominate earlier in the season. Now we've seen Francisco win twice. Strayer, he's won a couple races here and there. I believe he's winning a bunch at Texas Sprint Racing Series. Compatiello, we've seen win. So now Shiflett might be the next winner that we see in this category.
On the weekend, though, David, in the cadet class, as part of a takeaway, Nitro Kart winning both of the cadet classes.
Yeah, that's kind of the battle we always see. Who is the top shifter or top cadet chassis in the country right now? We've kind of seen it bounce around. It was Parolin, it was Bennick, I think, at the last race we did at the Summer Nationals, and now it's Nitro Kart back again at the top.
There you have it. All right, folks, final break in the action. When we come back, we'll look at the Constructors' Championship. David will wrap things up. And as always, we'll cap it off with the EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar. Motor mounts. They keep your engine attached to your chassis, right? The answer is they're much more important than that. Your motor mount is critical in transferring 100% of the power from your engine through to your tires and the racetrack. You need this to get on the podium each and every time you race. Odenthal Racing Products is here for you, providing the best motor mounts on the karting market today, all designed to make sure you're using all the horsepower you pay for. Odenthal Racing Products is a family-owned and operated business with decades of karting experience in providing products with unmatched quality and value for our racing community. The Pro Series mount for 2-cycle engines, which is available in 0, 5, and 8-degree inclinations, provides a rigid structure to help keep vibration to a minimum without adding too much weight to your setup. The 4-cycle Easy Set system is one of the most popular mounts for the Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant. Multiple mounting holes provide the most adjustability depending on your chassis and seat placement. To ensure a tight fit to your chassis, our ORP wedge clamps get the job done, and they feature a number of design updates to provide a lower profile and lighter weight. The clamps are available from 28mm to 32mm in both standard and Euro style sizes. And now, Odenthal has also revolutionized the karting industry with its new Easy GP camera mounting system. Designed to mount anywhere on your chassis with 1 or 2 cameras, the ORP Easy GP camera mount is your solution to capture that onboard winning moment. Head to odenthalracing.com and find a dealer near you. Odenthal Racing Products, proudly made in the USA.
Welcome to AIM Sports and the groundbreaking Micron 6 karting data logger. Since its inception, AIM Sports has been at the forefront of motorsport technology, revolutionizing how racers gather data. From its early days, AIM has tailored its innovations to provide precise insights, allowing racers to fine-tune their strategies and push their limits. Fast forward to today, and we're excited to celebrate 30 years of Micron by introducing the latest evolution in karting data loggers, the Micron 6. Designed with cutting-edge features, including 25Hz GPS with mil-spec precision, a 6-axis inertial platform, shift lights and alarms, temperature inputs, and a host of wired and wireless expansions. With 2 CAN buses, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi, it's perfect for karting enthusiasts looking to enhance their game on the track. With its advanced suite of sensors, high-speed data acquisition, and easy-to-use interface, the Micron 6 delivers unparalleled performance on track. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this powerful tool helps you analyze every turn, every lap, even every heartbeat. Imagine a tool that not only records your lap times, but also analyzes parameters like speed, tire temperature, driver inputs, and engine performance. With the Micron 6, you'll gain insights that can shave seconds off your times and elevate your skills behind the wheel. Don't just drive, be data-driven. Join the AIM Sports community today and equip yourself with the Micron 6 to take your karting experience to the next level. Visit aimsports.com to learn more. AIM Sports, 30 years of Micron.
Be part of the premier regional kart racing series in the Lone Star State. Take part in the 2026 Texas Sprint Racing Series with their 5-race schedule that travels all over Texas and Louisiana. The season begins in March at the Speed Sports Racing Park in New Caney, Texas, before traveling east to NOLA Motorsports Park in New Orleans at the beginning of May. The newly renamed Amarillo Motorsports Park in Panhandle, Texas will host the middle stop of the season in June. Trips to kart moto and speed sports complete our calendar, and we're excited to welcome all of our racers back to the track. The Texas Sprint Racing Series will make its third trip to the kart moto facility in Crescent, Texas at the end of August, after a month off in July, before drivers and teams will contest the series finale in late September, returning to Speed Sports Racing Park in Houston. Don't miss any of the action. Details on the rules and class structure, which includes the new Tillotson T4 senior category, can be found at TexasSprintSeries.com, along with a list of the full championship prize package for the official SuperKarts USA and International Kart Federation Series. The Texas Sprint Racing Series will be one of the biggest programs in the U.S. in 2026. Make sure you're there. Back at it to finish off this edition of the EKN Debrief and put a cap on our EKN trackside coverage of the United States Pro Kart Series Ohio Grand Prix at MCC this past weekend. Rob Howden here alongside David Cole, who was trackside all weekend long. Dave, let's look at the Constructors' Championship. 7 brands grabbing victories over the 11 races.
Yeah, Tony Kart led the way with 3 victories. Burrell Art earning 2 alongside Nitro Kart, who we just talked about in the cadet categories, picking up both wins there. LN Kart, Red Speed, Cosmic, and CKR were the other chassis that did win on the weekend.
Let's go to your wrap-up, David. We always talk about the red flags. 1 red flag during the racing action here. Give us some information on that one.
Yeah, just again, a driver in a bad spot, very similar to what we saw at the USBKS Newcastle event. Not sure exactly the extent of the injury. It was just a lower leg bang up that I believe the driver was able to walk away with no major issues. Didn't get a confirmation on that. But again, on the exit of turn 2, that's where it happened, and not exactly an easy spot to ignore. So they did bring the red flag out for that. As the driver wasn't exactly getting out of the cart to get out of the way. Other than that, I said the starts were great. We saw great starts. That one I think was at the start of or lap 2, I believe, maybe, or just after completing lap 1. So, but overall the starts were great all weekend long.
How about MCC? We talked about weather coming in. You talked about weather all weekend. We're talking about weather here in the debrief as well. Seems like this for the most part, a little bit of weather welcomed into any MCC event.
Well, I just saw the radar and video that MCC posted just about an hour ago. They had near tornado tornado conditions coming through again. That was one thing about Friday. So we're up in the scoring tower, staying dry, and the wind and everything was coming from the west. And we sat there, and then almost like 15 minutes later, it shifted and started coming from the east. So it was quite unique. Do not mess with the weather down there. That's for sure.
If you listen through all of your race reports there, we talked a lot about how close the racing was, drag race to the line, the way that final complex of corners kind of sets things up for a driver defending, somebody else to get a big run. You're able to get a better run of those final corners, and it's the drag race to the line. And David, margin of victories, 4 of them within a tenth of a second.
Yeah, something similar to carry over from Newcastle, where you come out of down the long pond straight, set up for the draft or the pass to get to the checker flag first. So of the essentially 9 main events that we saw on track, we saw 4 photo finishes, including the 3 wide there in the mini Swift category. So 3 thousandths of a second, the closest margin of victory in the main events.
Yeah, 9 thousandths for Micro, 41 thousandths for KA Junior, and just 96 thousandths of a second for X30 Pro. So some very close finishes at MCC this past weekend. David, I guess, final checker flies to cap things off, and what it really means is just one more race left to go in the USBKS Championship.
Exactly. And, with the best 3 out of 4 and the championship format, you don't really quite know what you can expect. We'll have to do the Excel spreadsheet, get that going. There's a couple of the categories that are really tight, a couple of them where, okay, this one could be a wrap up early. Again, we've got to kind of crunch the numbers and see what we can get when we do our Outlet podcast next month.
For sure. All right, folks, let's wrap things up with the EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar presented by Comet Kart Sales. History, success, family. These are the three words that describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation is located just outside Indianapolis and has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers over their near 6 decades of business. Their brand new updated online store features everything you need, and they are continually adding new parts to their product line. Make sure you head to cometkartsales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. All right, David Cole, the cool thing about this EKN Trackside Live race calendar is the next race is about 6 weeks away. You just did 3 races in a row, back-to-back-to-back, SCUSA Summer Nats, RMC Trophy Final, and now the USPKS Ohio Grand Prix. So a little bit of a break in the action for you. Your next race isn't until September 18th, 19th, 20th, and not ironically with the finale for the USPKS.
Yeah, so the finale for USPKS will be the inaugural Lake Erie Grand Prix at the Lorain, Ohio Kartplex in Lorain, Ohio, over September 18th through the 20th. And USPKS just a couple of the officials went up there Monday to check things out so they don't go in cold turkey, to kind of see what they need, where everything's going to get set up, kind of the lay of the land, where how the paddock's going to roll and fit out. And again, it'll be the first kind of major event for this new facility outside the Cleveland, Ohio area.
Always great to have a brand new racetracks in our sport and to be able to hold some major events too. So looking forward to your insight on that. Big part of what I would expect to see out of the Paddock Insider that weekend. Because you'll provide us a lot of information on what's going on there.
Yeah, maybe we can get an onboard or like a full onboard of me.
Maybe you need to drive like a rental cart or something like that around there.
Something, yeah.
There you go. After that, it's a couple of weeks, and then the CKNA Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals 10 at Newcastle Motorsports Park, October the 11th or 8th rather to the 11th. Expecting that would be a massive event as well. So the races we have, David, we're kind of rolling into the finals, right? We're wrapping things up with the last essentially national championship program, their final race, and then into these one-off events. Because, you go from the CKNA Grand Nationals, you look forward into the Rock Vegas, the Super Nationals to cap off the season. Man, this season's flown by and not much left in terms of actual championship series races.
Yeah, a lot of the regional programs too are going to be wrapping up here in August and September. You got some that'll be hosting their second to last and last rounds.
This weekend.
Some wrapping up this weekend as well too. So again, a lot of towards to the end of the season, school starting up in a lot of the regions of the country. Thankfully here, not yet, but in a couple of weeks it will. According to my wife, it's thankful that she gets 2 more weeks. Wrapping up the season again. Yeah, the drive to November. That's where everybody's kind of, looking over the horizon a little bit towards that. But again, still some stuff to kind of wrap up and finish up. Obviously, USPKS being one of them, and other one-offs and regional programs as well.
Exactly. If you're ready for a bit of a break, Dave, it was a good long 3 weekend run. You don't normally do 3 weekends in a row, so time for some family time. Get some rest of the summer, right? Hang out a little bit.
I survived.
You made it, David.
Yeah, I actually felt pretty good this weekend. I think the USPKS format helps. Not doing, if it was, the SCUSA format, I don't think 3 weekends in a row would have worked. Because even the road tax weekend, only one main event. So again, it does help in terms of that. But yeah, most of the schedules were done. Obviously, we had a longer day on Saturday here this past weekend because of the weather on Friday. But other than that, it was quite a unique adventure. Lots of good racing, some controversy as we always do have in our sport. But other than that, overall, great weekend or great 3 weekends, and time for some golf.
That's it.
I missed 3 weeks of golf. I'm a little upset on that, but it did go to the Brickyard, so I did get that.
You did. You did.
Just now we got time to get some articles done. A lot of things we kind of put on the back burner because of the coverage over the last essentially 4 weeks, and so lots of different articles to be coming and working on
Cool
over the
thing is,
next
I'm
few weeks.
I'm off this weekend. I'm staying at home here for the United States, probably USF Pro Championships event at Markham, brand new street circuit race up here for USF 2000 and USF Pro 2000. Then I get a weekend off. Then I go to the Milwaukee Mile for Pro 2000 there alongside IndyCar and Indy Next. Then I get 3 weekends off. So maybe we'll be able to knock out some of these podcasts we talk about through the first half of September before we get set to wrap everything up, right?
Well, we think we're going to do the roundtable next week. That's what we have on the schedule.
I'm into that.
And then we'll have a lot more of other things. I'll probably get another hot seat within a week or two as well.
Sure.
And again, we'll get our on track with CKNA and more podcasts and more articles coming forward.
There you have it, folks. That wraps things up. Our coverage from the United States Pro Kart Series Ohio Grand Prix at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Done. Episode number 171. Big thank you for David Cole being there trackside again 3 weeks in a row at the track, providing coverage for SCUSA, RMC, and USPKS competition. Lots more still to come and lots of content lining up as well now that David's got a little bit of a break to stay in the office, get some golf in, and enjoy home and the family a little bit. Folks, that wraps things up. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.